Welcome to LexTalk World Talk Show presented by Clickaway Creators. Today we have Mr. Manish Gaurav with us. Manish has a law firm named MNSA and his focus area includes infrastructure, private equity, mergers and acquisitions, competition and antitrust, corporate structure transactions, joint ventures and strategic collaborations, debt financing transactions and commercial contracts to name a few. He has been actively advising in transactions pertaining to equity debt financings in various startups, accelerators, e commerce companies, manufacturing, and service companies. He is a recommended lawyer for corporate and mergers and acquisitions in New Delhi in the Asia Pacific Legal 500. So, now without further ado, let's dive into more about him. So, hello, Manish. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Nikhil. Thank you very much. Thanks for this
It's really
opportunity.
a yeah, it's really a pleasure to have you here.
Same here.
And yeah, so now Mr. Gaurav, please tell us about a complex legal issue that you worked on and also describe the complexity and tell us how you approached it.
See, most all transactions we do is definitely complex. It's not that it's going to straightforward. But the problem, the complex issues is really when you are trying to settle a dispute between the parties, where the faith between the parties are at the lowest level. So there, the role of a lawyer becomes very, very vital. Wherein you are not only representing your client, but you are trying to achieve a solution wherein parties don't have faith on each other. So both the parties are supposedly relying on their respective lawyers, and the lawyer's duty is to arrive at a solution which is working for both the parties. Either you are losing or you are gaining. It should happen that both the parties should be either happy or unhappy with the solution, but it should not happen that one person is happy, another is unhappy, but that solution will not be lasting good. That's my assessment of it. So any transaction which typically involves settling a long-standing dispute is definitely challenging. In addition to that, many a times investment transactions also become very, very complex when there are multiple investors with different set of mind, different set of financial targets, and you're trying to fit them into one room. So such transactions also become very complex at certain point of time. So I can just share one example with you, wherein one of a client who was outside India, he had invested into one real estate transaction. Now, they were fighting against each other in the court of law. And suddenly they came up with a solution that let's settle it. But they don't have any idea how to settle, what to settle. And then it took considerable time in, aligning the interest, and we could finally manage to succeed in that.
That's really nice. I mean, thank you so much for telling us and explaining us about this uh, complex issue. And now, moving forward, now that we are still in between the pandemic and still trying to get out of it, and the pandemic saw some courts begin moving towards more remote proceedings and availability. So, is this sustainable and a possible way to increase access to justice, in your opinion?
Correct. So, what happened once we have the lockdown, suddenly we are put to a system which nobody has experience of it as such in India. So the entire judicial system, wherein people are in metro, small cities, big cities, we are all put to a system that everybody is going virtual. It was very, very difficult for the lawyers and the judicial system to accommodate it. We found that different courts have different applications to do the court hearings. But the good thing was that in most of the cases, it was effective. It was effective, and the system was improving as we were working on. So I would say that till such time the virtual hearing continued, it was going good. It was improving. It was going good. Now we are again getting back to the physical system. But what I personally feel that there should be a hybrid model wherein uh, a client should have an option to join the hearing virtual as well, because that will give them access, lots of time saving. And we have a template that how we have implemented it. What we just need is to have a uniform system. So to answer your question, whether use of technology is helping to access justice, I would say yes. Just imagine that if the system was not in place, the entire judicial system would have come to a standstill for 2 years almost, right? So we all learned, judicial system participated in it. They encouraged us. We also got into it. Client also encouraged us. And it was some bit of ease also with certain difficulties. So what I see is that there could be a hybrid model wherein this system can be smoothly implemented, and there should be a uniformity in the system as well. So that will really help in long run.
And yeah, I completely agree with you. So hybrid system will definitely be a much better
Yeah.
option to have. And now, how would you rate the current legal system drive towards encouraging access to justice? Is there a tangible movement in closing the justice gap?
I think there is quite a bit of movement. You could see that recently the Consumer Act has been amended. More and more acts are coming into picture, coming into operations, which are making the access to justice easy, in a sense that if you see Consumer Act, the way it operates is that any consumer can file a complaint, right? And the consumer courts are in most of the districts. So for them, access to justice is, yes, there is a judicial system. They do not have to go a long process of civil court. They have a dedicated body which will address their concern on an immediate basis, rather on an immediate basis. So so as far as access of justice is concerned, this is being, there is an effort by the legislature, there is an effort by all the stakeholders to make the access as efficient as possible. Definitely, everybody is working towards it, and I see that it will, in days to come, the gap will further reduce, for sure.
Thank you so much for your answer. And now, in the era of legal technology, what are the most commonly used tools for you?
See, there are 2, 3 things that are very important for a law firm. One is the access to data. So as we were working remotely, so we would want entire team to have the access to data. That's one. Second thing is access to your ability to access the data and communicate with client. That is also equally important. Third thing is that whether you have an appropriate technology to keep the because for us time is most important thing. So how are we utilizing our time for a client's work? Keeping that data is also very important. So we have implemented technology which should be efficient and which is efficient, wherein appropriate time management is being taken care. Anybody who is working wherever he or she is can really access to their emails, data, and everything, has the ability to communicate with client, communicate among the team members. So we have taken all latest technology in terms of addressing all these 3 issues. And it's quite successful in our case.
Great. And yeah, there are a number of benefits when we actually use the technology or
Yeah,
use the legal
definitely.
platform. I
Definitely.
mean, the tech platform.
Yeah, definitely. And it is it's easy to learn, I must say. It's easy to learn, and it is a must. It is a must for
And
a
it
law.
actually helps us to save a lot of time.
Definitely. Time management is all about efficiently utilizing your time.
I completely agree with you. And now that we are talking about time, and as we all know that time is money in any profession, and in legal is most of all. So how do you ensure to make the best use of your time as a lawyer?
So I will not, my time would include my team's time also, essentially, the firm's time, essentially. So what is really important for us is that the team is allocated the work appropriately with the good understanding of the matter so that they can perform efficiently. The systems would be set. So what I do is that in my team member, I allocate the work keeping in mind that who can perform it efficiently. That is one way. And for me, obviously, I have to keep data of all my time utilization so that I can serve my client better within the agreed timeline and quality service. So allocation of team to the work is one of the key factor for time management. That's what I think.
All right. And what about, I mean, how do you take time for yourself? I mean, what is your me time, and what do you like to do in that?
Typically, I love reading books, typically, and books typically dealing with the strategic affairs. So what happens is that at least 1 or 2 books is a companion for me. and it once I finish, then I start with the next one. So that's one is definitely a utilization of time for myself. And obviously, you have a family, and family members have their own expectations. So again, we have to put quality time to for them as well. So for us, for me at least, reading books on the strategic matters is one of the key interests for me, and I really keep following it.
And does reading include fictions and non-fictions as well, or is just the legal books?
Fiction, non-fiction, both. I don't categorize that I will go for fiction or I will not go for non-fiction. So it's just that any book that is in news in days, and if I have time, I really go for it.
All right, all right. Thank you so much for that. And now, as we know that there's much more competition now, considering the number of law firms. So, how do you feel about the ever-growing competition?
Competition is good, for sure. Competition is good, and I see that lots of good talent is coming into the profession. So it will only improve this profession in overall scenario. But for a law firm to sustain a long run, there's certain key element that has to be there. The key elements is how do you sustain? So for a lawyer is a lawyer, right? If you are managing a law firm, then you have to become an entrepreneur as well. That transition is not easy. It's transition, it takes time to understand it. So the real challenge is that for a lawyer to transform himself or herself into an entrepreneur and have a sustainable model, keeping the futuristic challenge into mind. I think here the key element lies for long-term sustainability. And obviously, client service is the key item, but keeping that in mind, that any law firm has to have it. But besides that, you really have to be some futuristic. You have to be really more entrepreneur in your mindset in order to really sustain on the long run.
Thank you so much, Manish, for sharing such great insights with us. And we look forward to having a chat with you again in the future on
Definitely.
some other trending topics in the international legal world. So, for our viewers, if you like this chat with Manish Gaurav, please like and share this video. And also subscribe to Clickaway Creators YouTube channel to appreciate what we do. And you have more coming from the legal space. So, this is Nikhil for LexTalk World signing off.